Welcome, everybody. So glad you can join us. So it's a great privilege for me to have the esteemed Lesley Witt with us, and she is going to talk to us about logotherapy. Good evening, Lesley.
I can hear you, yeah.
Excellent. You look ravishing. You look lovely.
I look what?
Lovely.
Thank you.
Yes, so welcome. Let me get hello to some of the comments, and I'll put them up on screen so you can also see them. We have Aviva Baron Rothschild. Lesley is a wise warrior, and anyone who tunes in will learn something powerful from her insights. Okay, wonderful. And Fiery Nessa is with us. Hello, welcome, welcome. Nikunel is with us. And yes, so we will read comments in between, obviously, the questions and Lesley's insights. So good evening, Brandon. So Lesley, where do you want to begin? Would you like me to begin?
Where do I want to begin? Well, let's begin that we synchronistically met quite recently. How was that?
That's good. That's a good start.
So, in short, I had a boyfriend who was Ruth's cousin, who mentioned her often, but I never had met her. He passed away on the 3rd of August last year. And when did I meet you? A few weeks ago.
About a month or so ago, yeah. Yeah. We had lots of fun.
So he was the catalyst in us meeting, I guess, is the moral of the story. Yeah.
So I wanted to sort of ask you, so the beginnings of your journey, do you think you've always been this amazing powerhouse and sort of, what do I say, orb of wisdom when it comes to sense of self?
When it comes to?
Sense of self. Sorry.
Sense of self, did you say?
Yes, yes.
No, I haven't always been, and I'm developing at every moment. And with every pain, disappointment, joy, whatever, I'm developing all the time. So, you know, I'm learning from many people, hey.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Aren't we
Definitely.
all? Aren't we all? And we're so lucky to just be exposed to it. With a click, hey?
Yeah. No, it's definitely. So as a child growing up, you grew up in where? Johannesburg or Cape Town?
No, Bulawayo. In the metropolis of Bulawayo. Rhodesia. Or Zimbabwe, as it's now known.
Yeah, Zimbabwe now that it's known.
Talk louder, please, Ruth. I don't know why.
All right, I know your sound. Yeah. All right, I'm going to try and talk very loud. Can you hear me?
And I'll have a hearing test tomorrow.
We might have uncovered something. Sure. All right, so you grew up in Bulawayo and you moved to Joburg. And when did you sort of, sorry, technical guys busy sorting out some audio here. When did you discover your journey with Viktor Frankl and his insights?
With Viktor Frankl?
Yes.
I started studying that in about 2013. I studied it for 3 years. So, yeah, that was 2012, I think, 12, 13, 14, no, 15, 3 years. 3 years I studied his work, and then I taught briefly at uni with the team, with other students. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Buzzy Moments saying, please smash that like button. Fiery Nessa says she's personally done 180 in my life. Okay, so Fiery Nessa has had change. And I think this last lockdown, what's been happening to all of us, I think people are searching and are searching for an awakening. Can you hear me?
Yes, searching for an awakening, yes.
Yes, and people are starting to open up to new things and not sort of following the sheep. I hope, anyway. I really, really hope that people are not just, following the herd. I hope people are exploring different things. Tell me a little bit more about logotherapy and how you do it. So you give classes, private classes.
No, I usually do sessions rather than
Okay.
classes. I'm not a purist logotherapist because I did a lot of different modalities in the coaching line, etc. So I do mix a bit of it in, and I use where necessary and in what. It's very natural logotherapy. It's like us. It's connecting soul to soul.
Okay.
It's
I don't
having a
know.
connection with whoever.
All right. And what questions, so if we were to have a session now, what sort of questions would you ask me? Like what do you touch on?
I would ask you why you're here, what you're wanting, what it
What am I
is,
wanting?
that you're looking for. That's what I would ask. Yeah.
I think
that would be my
self-love.
opening question, because logotherapy, it goes with your flow. It doesn't have a structure. It's not outcome based like coaching is,
Okay.
So we would go with words, because every word that one says in logotherapy, and I think that's what attracted me to it, it gives you an insight into people.
Okay. So what
and
words
and what they're
attracted?
searching for, and sorry.
And what they're searching for. So what were you searching for?
Me, sure, I've been searching for a lot of things in my life. I've been on a constant search, I think, since I was 5 years old, when I lost my brother, and I used to see shadows and all sorts. So I went on a spiritual journey very early on in my life.
Okay. And
continued. And just continued. And what was I searching for at the time? 2013, 14. I was always searching for something, but I had my son. I remember now. I had my son at home because I had taken him out of a home, and I had him at home for 2 years, and I single-handedly gave him, looked after him. So
all right.
that
So
was
let's
Daniel,
talk about
who was mentally
Daniel.
and
Let's talk about
physically
what
challenged.
happened. Yeah. How did that happen? So what happened? I mean, you told me when we met, but if you can just tell
He
our
had brain
audience.
cancer, aged 1, and then he was given a 48-hour prognosis. And I went to a lot of different lengths, or we did, with prayer, with contacting religious people in New York, with asking for collective prayer, that kind of thing, and healing, and whatever we could, we went for, because he was given this 48-hour prognosis. And Daniel lived nearly 37. He died last year on the 22nd of May.
37 years, and he was given a 48-hour prognosis. So well done, Mom. Well done.
Yeah, how's that for a life?
I just want to check with the audience. Lesley, I think if you could switch off your laptop. I just want to ask the audience, what's the sound like? Because it's very choppy. I think switch off your laptop. I think it's pulling too much bandwidth. I think rather just switch off your laptop for a bit.
Switch off the laptop. Okay.
If anyone has comments for Lesley.
Okay.
So I think your search, and I've got a question with regarding you were always searching, and when I think of the esoteric, I believe that children choose their parents.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the hang I did to deserve it, but I got a fantastic little package. I got such a gift. And,
Okay.
you know, I got two beautiful children. What can I say? One very, very special in his way, and the other very special, challenged.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And at one stage, did you ever feel overwhelmed, sort of maybe a little bit of despair in the beginning? Like obviously when he was diagnosed, or did you just continue searching?
Totally, not in the very beginning. So before, say that question again, please.
So did you ever feel despair and sort of depressed that this had happened to you, which I think is generally a normal response?
I certainly felt despair. Initially, I felt a lot of faith and hope, and I felt the energy of rooting for us and for Daniel. And so, yeah, did I feel depressed? Yes, I still get days where I get depressed.
Sure, like all of us. It's only
Was I isolated socially? For sure, we were isolated socially. Yeah, I was often told, recently I was told I wasn't going to take him anyway, but they needed to state that I shouldn't bring him for a Christmas lunch. So, and I understand that, because he was difficult. He was rowdy. He could swear like a trooper, and you know, he could be very inappropriate. So I did understand that, but it was alienating. So yes, I had every feeling under the sun.
I can believe it. Yeah. I think it's, and you're an amazing woman for embracing him and allowing him to be who he was, and interact. And apparently he had a wonderful relationship with my cousin Amir. And what did
Indeed, I actually posted a picture on Facebook a little earlier, and it was a very revealing photo of Daniel and Amir holding hands in the garden. It looked like the seaside was in the background, but it was actually the garden, and the light was shining on both of them. And who would have known that sort of 9 weeks apart, they would be in heaven together or wherever.
Okay. 9 weeks.
That sounds like Prince Charles, wherever, you know?
Yeah. I just want to, Lesley, I just want to check. People in the comments, how's the sound? TG, how's the sound? Is the sound clear? Is Leslie's sound clear? Sorry, guys. It's very choppy on my side. Anyway, let's continue. If we can just get a bit of feedback to know if the sound's good. All right. So you ask someone with the logotherapy. So it's based on Viktor Frankl's principles of finding meaning and finding meaning in life. And he used to, I mean, I don't know, for those, tell us a little bit about who he was for those who don't know.
Okay, so Viktor Frankl was born in Vienna, and he was from an early age, he was interested in psychiatry. He became a psychiatrist, neurologist, and he did go to the concentration camps where he lost his whole family to begin with, but where he also observed human behavior and what made some people stronger than others and what made some survive and others less so. He had started his logotherapy, which is healing through meaning, before he was actually taken to the camps. But it was taken away from him. It was sewn into his jacket. So he started his notes at very odd hours on anything he could write on, recreating it in the camps. But now he had a real study going. I mean, he had a human study second to none. And I think what he discovered was that, well, people with a rich inner life that were in touch with themselves spiritually, or had great memories of things from the past, and they could reflect on those, or they had been in the arts or the culture, or they had experienced it. They could draw on that rich inner life. So memory played a huge role.
Okay, memory.
He also said, Ruthie, that there are 3 avenues in which we get meaning. And for people that are here, that I'm sorry if I'm repeating, but it's what we create in the world. So we can create an artwork, we can create a business, we can create a relationship, actually. What we not only create, what we experience. And the experience is the big thing, because it's experiencing free of charge from your world. And the world has a lot to offer us. And I mean, it can be anything. It can be someone giving you a smile when you didn't expect it, or a hello. And that's an experience, okay, if we recognize it. And then there's the third one, the third avenue to meaning, and that is the attitude that you take, especially towards unavoidable suffering. Are you having a problem hearing me?
No. As long as everyone, I notice a good old friend, and I want to read a question from the comments. Hi, Kyle. Kyle hasn't been around for ages. So welcome, Kyle. It's so good that we've got familiar faces back again. Brandon has a question. Lesley, can you hear me? Can you see the comments on the screen? Should we actively search for enlightenment, or does enlightenment come to us naturally?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Enlightenment, meaning, I will take it as meaning. Okay. And Frankl asserted that you did not have to search for meaning, that meaning will find you. Okay, so to answer that question, we don't search for it. It finds us. And I guess that shows when we read the right book at the right time, watch the right show at the right time, whatever, the synchronicity of it all.
The synchronicity. I tell you, life works in amazing ways, just amazing ways. And I think I'd like to have you on often, so that you can teach us some of your experience and your wisdom. So what do you think was your meaning moment? Or you've had many. I mean, you're not a one-woman experience. You take everything in, right?
I'm a big show pony. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a one-woman experience.
Yeah. And
aha moments. There've been so many. Hey.
So many, and I think that's what's.
The big thing that I wanted to say, although there are 3 avenues to meaning, the third one is suffering. And he says you should avoid it at all costs, but if you can't, it's your attitude towards the suffering. And suffering is part of life. It's unconditional. We get everything, and suffering, pain, and death are inclusive in the package. Yeah.
And I think it's that attitude, how we respond to it, and learn to see the blessing and not the curse.
Yeah. It is looking at the glass half full. It really is. And looking around you and just recognizing, sunsets and grass on your feet, and experience breathing in and free oxygen. I mean, there's just so much around us. And often we don't stop and smell the hummus,
Stop and smell the hummus. What?
Yeah.
or the hummus,
Yeah.
as Robin Williams intimated to. In fact, someone I know who can't, let's say he doesn't hear very well, mention hummus as hummus, and there's a big difference between hummus and hummus.
I don't know the
Yeah.
difference. What is it? What is
No,
it?
he pronounced it the same, and I was like, no, it's not the same. One is chickpeas and one is an excrement.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, Les, just 1 second. TG, can you please make sure no one else is on the net, because I'm battling. It's very choppy on my side. Anyway, okay. So you were talking about the 3 levels of understanding,
or
or
3
the meaning.
avenues to meaning, and the third
3
one
avenues
is
to
your
meaning.
attitude and towards suffering, especially a fate where you have absolutely no control over life and death
So
situations, you know.
Okay, so the first one is creation. Did I hear right?
What we create, relationships, friendships, artworks, what we create, businesses. Second one is what we experience. And our experiences are our inner riches. Those are what our inner riches are. They're our experiences. And the third one is attitude, especially towards a fate, you know.
When I was reading up about it, it talks about logotherapy helping with anxiety. And I think the worst thing that has come out of all this lockdown and life nowadays in general, I don't know if my mom's generation experienced the level of anxiety with which I think our generation and younger are dealing with. How do you help someone to let go or embrace like a traumatic event so that they are able to cope with their anxiety?
Okay, so you're talking about 2 different things here. You're talking about loss and anxiety. Okay, so anxiety is often anticipatory, what he calls anticipatory anxiety. So we assume what is going to happen, and I suppose the opposite of it would be we don't live mindfully and in the moment. So we're anticipating a lot of what's going to happen. And so that is how one would begin to deal with it. But as I say, the conversation has to flow between the 2 of us that are engaging in a session. So there would never be a set question around anxiety.
Okay.
But because their anxiety is so singularly unique to them. Nobody else experiences their anxiety, if you know what I mean.
Sure. It's a personal experience, although I think a lot of us have similar fears and similar joys as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do
I'm just
have
going to go back
those
to
in
the
common, of course. Sorry.
Carl, and okay, let me go to Farinessa. Learn from it or it is a lesson wasted. I suppose a failure or a disappointment.
Learn
Did you see
from
the question?
it. Otherwise, if you don't learn the lesson, it comes back to haunt you again.
Yeah, and we're not talking about ectoplasm here. We're talking about, it's true. That is so true. It's
but
like
we can talk about ectoplasm if you want. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know why my connection with you is really battling. As long as I think the people can hear you, and that's fun. I'm just struggling for the first time ever. I'm struggling to hear you, but all right. So appreciate all the small things in life, including the ups and downs. All right. Okay. So what else?
And
so
even
live in the moment.
appreciate your suffering. because know that it's bringing you all sorts of other resources that are there, but we're accessing courage, and we're accessing lots of different resources with suffering. I'm sure that I want to sort of, in this conversation, include the people that are listening, because I really would welcome their questions and, what they have on their minds and what they find meaningful and fulfilling, etc. Because I think we've given them a little bit of an intro, and so some questions would be really welcome, and then I can answer it from a logo point of view.
Yes. All right. Well, if people in the comments have questions for Lesley, I know that you give your sessions, all right, and every penny spent on them is worth it. Your email, I'll put it in the comments below. We'll do a description after the show. Do you want me to use your Gmail for people to contact you, or your iAfrica email address?
No, iAfrica, that would be great. Baron@iAfrica.com.
Okay, say it again. Baron,
Baron, as in Baroness, at iAfrica.com.
It's iAfrica.com, and that's how everyone who wants to speak to Lesley and maybe book a session. She does do sessions
but let's
online.
Get their questions. Let's get their
questions. Yes, I don't know. People are shy. People don't want to ask questions. I think for me right now is, change. Trying to deal with change is very difficult. I'm experiencing change in my life with regards to my relationship with my mom. She's obviously taken a bad turn for health recently, and I'm struggling to sort of embrace that. How would you just say capture the moment, try and make it good?
No, I wouldn't say anything like that. I'd really say, in what way are you struggling around it?
What's the struggle around it? Oh, Les, I'm struggling to hear you. I didn't hear any of that. I don't know. Someone in the comments can repeat.
I hear you.
You hearing me? I'm battling to hear you. Yeah, I'm wondering if we maybe shouldn't reconnect this. I'll come to your house and I'll get you a cable and we'll plug everything in, and we'll fix the connection. Okay. So you say, just repeat that again. So you would rather what? That I do what?
I would rather pose a question to you, and what about it is making you anxious?
Good question. That, I suppose if I'm really honest, it's huge. Look, she's got dementia, or the beginnings of Alzheimer's. And I suppose I'm nervous as to, and when I think about it now, it's ridiculous, how people will judge her or judge me. And when I think of the actual disease of Alzheimer's, it's ridiculous, because there's a logical explanation as to why she's acting the way she is, But I suppose my ego is fighting me and saying, things have to be perfect. Your mother, before she would dress immaculately. She would, always have makeup on, always have her hair done. And I suppose me seeing her now in a state of confusion and, not really able to put an outfit together anymore. And also not.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, let me ask you a question. Who would you be if you weren't anxious over this specific situation? Who would you be?
I suppose I'd be lighter, in a way that, okay, look, I'm quite if you've met me, I'm not light at all. I'm light, but I'm not light.
Yeah.
But it's a huge,
I
suppose with our parents, we expect them to be perfect forever. And maybe I've expected that she'll be that perfect person forever, which is not realistic. And it's not fair.
Was she perfect as a mother?
No. Whose mother is besides you? No.
Okay, so the perfection didn't go all the way through.
No, but
for that perfect mother image.
I think if I really look at it, it's it's an ego thing. I think if I'm honest, if I'm really honest, I'm worried about what people will say, and I shouldn't really, like, it's bizarre because...
So let me just tell you a little fact. This is not around logotherapy, but so external people want to be validated a lot of the time, and they will ask for many different opinions if they are asking a question, okay? Internal people is that manager that you absolutely don't want to have. Internal is on the other side of the spectrum, okay? And the internal is somebody who always knows they're right. They never refer to anyone else. They think whatever they say goes. They're internally. So you are to understand that you externally look for validation. Is that correct?
Yes, and I suppose that I heard a theory on actresses and people in the media, that people in the media would need external validation in order to feel worthy. And I think you've touched on a huge button. I think that probably is one of my truths. I think I do seek external validation.
There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing bad about it. But when you can internally validate yourself more, it balances out better.
That's such an important lesson. You have to, and it sounds so cliche, I suppose, love yourself, but also tell yourself you are worthy. You deserve it. You worthy, you deserve it. And so many of us beat ourselves.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We harsh on ourselves. We beat ourselves up. We don't appreciate our little achievements. And I've got a little thing that I pat myself on the shoulder. And when the body mind gets the whole message, that's when the esteem starts building. So it's mind talk. So we can say, I'm having a terrible day today, but tomorrow will be different. So we've just deleted the terrible day with the but word. So buts and ands are very, very important words, and embellishes, but deletes in our own heads. And then a physical anchor on the, as I say, I pat my shoulder, but for the mind body, because however old you are, the mind body has got that message for so long. So we really have to retrain it and build a new neuron on the old neuron. And I say that because you can't get rid of old neurons, but you can build new ones on top. And that's habits. So habitually, the better we speak to ourselves and the more we anchor our bodies, the better our esteem will start rising from that.
Very, very true. Very, wow. That's like, yeah. Thank you. And I see there is a question for you, Lesley. Job in. Okay, so how would someone's asking a question? How do you handle struggling to get a job in these times?
Struggling to get a job. Okay, so the main thing around that is not attaching your worthiness to getting a job, because whether you get a job or you don't, obviously it's going to be comfortable or uncomfortable, and it's going to impact on your living. But you are essentially, you separate the person from that. Okay, you separate. You're good enough. You are strong enough. You are courageous enough. You're everything enough. Okay, without that.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's very thought provoking. It's very, yeah.
So
I think for
if we
someone
were
like,
to work together, Ruth, sorry, I'm interrupting you. If we were to work together, we would be working on your sense of yourself. Okay. Yeah, what role you played when you were young, perhaps that could come into it. Although we don't focus on the past. Okay. But it gives a clue. And we would be working on, yeah, you do have meaning in your life, don't you?
I should hope so. I feel sorry if I didn't. No, definitely. I have moments where I feel it more than most, but obviously as a human being, I get bogged down with all the bobamasis as we know it, the bullshit. Excuse my French. But you know, and I, yeah, it's hard to, and that's what the tape, you have to change your tape in your head. You have to encourage yourself. You have to say, I'm strong, I'm courageous, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I'm happy, and happiness is also a choice. By the way, Sharon's saying hello.
Hi, Sharon.
Thank
Which
you.
Sharon?
Our Sharon.
Our Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Our Sharon. No,
Hi,
she's here.
Sharon.
Hello, our Sharon. Okay, there we go. Oops, no, hang on. All right. Fiery Nessa says Caroline Leaf's work on this is great. Okay, I don't know if you've heard of Caroline Leaf.
Caroline Miss. Yes, I've studied with her. She came to South Africa a few times. So I did her courses whilst she was here. But what was the question? I didn't hear the question.
No, it wasn't a question. My fault. It was just, she was just remarking that Caroline Leaf's work is also very intuitive when it comes to this, and it's all about, I think, working on oneself. Hey, Lesley, trying to improve, trying to grow.
Well, we don't have to try grow, because a river doesn't have to try flow. You know, we exponentially grow from every conversation we have, from every love we encounter, person we love, from every suffering we feel. We grow. Yeah.
Okay. And it's about, and that's the truth. That's love. That's the truth in it. And I think it's important to have try and have more positive, in the moment actualizations or affirmations. If I say, I don't know what affirmations is the right word, but sort of to believe that this now is a great moment. You know, it might not get better than this, so enjoy it.
Exactly. And there might not be
your
another moment. So he does talk a lot about meaning moments. And that is exactly what it is, making the most of the moment, appreciating it. And having many, many meaning moments can often add up to a calling in life. And and that calling will find you through those meaning moments.
Yeah, it's I mean, Sharon's remarking here, you said that Frankl said you don't search for meaning, yet his book is Man's Search for Meaning. I don't know. But you mentioned that meaning finds you.
Yeah, you don't have to find meaning internally is what I mean. Meaning, in his eyes, Maslow talked about self-actualization, reaching your potential. Frankl talked about self-transcendence, which is reaching beyond yourself for the good of others. Okay, and so that is a really huge difference, because when you are reaching out and doing good for others, or following or a cause or whatever, you do feel good about things, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And I think that can give one meaning, that can give one purpose. So do you think meaning and purpose are the same thing? They're very much related?
Meaning is meaning moments. Purpose is often referred to as the infinite thing in my life that I'm going to do. But we don't just have one purpose or one meaning. It changes it from time to time. I was a mom to Daniel and Jonathan, and now I'm no longer a mom. I'm a mom to Jonathan, but not to Daniel. You know, things change.
Yeah, life is ever changing. What's that Jewish adage? This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever.
This too shall pass. Yeah, and it does. It does.
Good or bad.
And us too. And that's the bonus point. Us too. You know.
Sure.
We all equal. We all equal.
We all are, and yeah, I'm just so privileged to have met you, and I'm so glad that you're in my life, and I can learn from you because
ditto. Okay.
So I just want to get back to some of the questions. Fiery Nessa says, great way of putting it, Lesley. I live in the now and try to learn from the good and bad and just love.
Beautiful. That's amazing. I just want to talk a little bit about happiness, because you mentioned it earlier, Ruthie, about happiness. And happiness, you know, you can be happy in one moment and the phone rings and you get a message and that makes you unhappy. So happiness is fleeting, where fulfillment is when you're fulfilled within yourself, that is sustainable.
Okay.
And I think that's the misnomer around happiness, that to make ourselves happy, we can't be happy all the time. For God's sake,
not normal.
You know.
In fact, I met a guy last year. He looked like he was so happy all the time, even when everything around him was chaotic. He was like, hello, how are you? Hello. And I was like, this guy's not normal. There's something wrong with him.
I was just going to say, was he challenged? Was he challenged?
I don't know if he was challenged, but he didn't kind of lost with his task that he had appointed with him. So that's maybe, but he was very young, and maybe he was just trying to make the best of a moment, or he was on severe happy pills. What do you feel about addiction? How do you help someone cope with addiction? And it could be addiction to anything nowadays.
Cope with rejection.
Rejection or addiction. Rejection and addiction.
I'm going to talk a bit to addiction, which probably falls with rejection as well. And that is, Frankl talks about free will That's how we think and feel. We have the ability to have that control. He talks of will to meaning, and that is if you're not doing a job that you love, or something you love, or a hobby you love, or something you love, you get what is called the existential vacuum, which is essentially hole in the soul. And that's where addictions, depression, aggression, maybe rejection's a little bit different, but yeah, that's what happens when meaning is not being fulfilled in some way. And as I say, people are so unique and they all fill it in different ways. And it doesn't have to be work that identifies you.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to that, the transcendence and what you attach your sense of self to. And it's always changing. And it's so important not to attach your self-worth to one specific item, your job, your husband, your wife, your relationship. You've got to sort of flow. What did you say about the river? I didn't catch that. The signal died on us. What did you say about...
You said you were going to try and do something, and I said, you don't need to try. A river doesn't need to try flow.
It just is. It just does.
It's isness. It's an isness. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're already thinking of it, you're already having it in your head, and you are trying, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there was the question about addiction. But yeah, I think we've touched on a lot of... I agree, it's a hole in the soul. I was severely depressed most of my life, or I found freedom in past 2 years, and I'm 48. So well done, Fiery Nessa. Well done. No, it's so important. And Brandon's got a last... Brandon's very wise. He could be a guru. What's he say here? We're all carried along by the river of dreams, Billy Joel.
I love that, Billy Joel. Yeah, we are, and we have to have hope and faith, and look at our dreams and aspirations, eh?
No, look, it's hard. I mean,
keep us sustained, other than our memories.
Yeah, and I suppose, I don't know, as we get older, maybe our memory fades a bit. But I think the key is to be in the moment. And I think I'm going to take that away with me tonight. And I hope our viewers have had a bit of inspiration. And I hope that, yes, so if anyone wants to get in touch with Lesley, it's baron@iafrica.com. And she does sessions, and very insightful, and you'll definitely walk away feeling better. Better, with more sort of understanding. But yes, thank you, Lesley. And I want to apologize for being late again. Sorry.
And thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And I encourage everyone to click on to your... There's not even a charge, is there?
No, there's no...
To click onto your link.
Thank you. Yeah. What would TG tell me to say? Subscribe, give that thing a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you prefer. I prefer the thumbs up. But yeah, subscribe.
Okay.
We will definitely have Lesley on again. And yeah, it's all about, yeah.
And what sort of subjects would you cover for those that are new to hearing you, Ruth?
Sorry, Les, say that again.
What subjects would that haven't...
Well, I think we could obviously talk more about maybe perhaps someone who's dealing with loss. My connection is so bad. I think we'll have to do this again because I'm going to rewatch the stream so I can hear exactly every word for word what you said. But yes, I think we can look at a few topics. What topics do you think?
I think I do something to technology. I think I've got an electricity that does something, because when I'm near technology, it goes haywire. I mean it.
It could be you give off an electric current yourself. You're full of current. But we are made of energy. We
Yeah.
transmit energy. We give
What
off
can I say? I'm an electrical charge. Okay.
Yes. In fact,
you.
I
Thank
met
you
a
for having
lady.
me. I appreciate it.
No, pleasure. Yeah, I met another lady who her one plant was dying, and she basically said to the plant, if you do not start growing, I'm going to rip you out, and that's the end of you. And true's Bob, this plant started flourishing, and now it's a full-on tree. But she gave it an ultimatum, like, you either or, baby, you either or.
Totally. Yeah.
But yes,
I know.
thank
for
you,
parents, they need to say, say that? Sorry.
Carry on.
No, saying for parents, I remember a good thing was saying, are you going to have Milo before you go to bed? The insinuation you're going to bed, no matter what. Are you having Milo? So.
Yeah. All right, lovely people. We will see you on Thursday. Thank you so much, Lesley. But yeah, we'll have Lesley on again. And we've actually got this Thursday, we've got Dion from DCX Bullion. He's coming back to tell us all about the new investment opportunity in green power. So yeah, we'll look at that. Great, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Lesley. Much appreciated. Don't go away. I'm going to end the stream and then, yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you learned something.
Thank
TTFN.
You. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You can also email your questions.
Yes, please do at baron@iafrica.com. That's BARON@iafrica.com. Great stuff. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.